Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Highly Suspicious Podcast with Louie and Preston. My name is Louie.
My name's Preston.
We are reporting one last time from the trap house.
Yeah, soon we'll be in the trap home.
Yeah.
New and improved.
Which is exciting. New beginnings. Every beginning is an ending in something else.
Facts.
As Confucius said, I believe. That's what he said.
Nothing will ever be the same. So, we are here with special guest, Boomy the dog. Just vibing.
We got both mascots in the studio with us today, giving us strength.
This will be Axel's last episode.
Yeah.
Unless you want to bring that mug over in a little
I might.
baggie.
In a little fish bowl. Axel, say hi. Axel, say hi.
He's just staring at the wall. He's giving us a tough time.
Yeah, he's tired of the bullshit.
He really is. He's going to say, fucking finally.
Yeah, I'd be tired of listening to us
Turning off my air for 2 hours at a time, god damn it.
Not only turning off his air, but forcing him to listen to the psychological drama in our mind.
What's on the docket this week?
There's a bunch of different ways we can go as usual. The most interesting thing I heard this week, I think, is what we should go with.
Okay.
So there's this YouTube channel I watch called Josh Pate, Late Night Kick with Josh Pate. It's like
I've
a podcast.
never heard of this man.
You wouldn't have. It's a college football show.
Okay.
Whenever I talk about sports on here, it's always like, if I'm the audience and our audience is kind of nerdy, kind of unique, it's like, why the fuck would I want to care about this? I think
there's drama in the sports industry, though.
Yeah, that's entertaining.
I think that it is entertaining sometimes, just off of the
the
shock
bullshit
value.
Yeah. And I've also explained this before. I think a lot of times it can be a microcosm for the greater society that's on the biggest scale because it's, everything's
nationwide.
on camera, everything's reporting this,
camera.
reporting that. So the most interesting saga that's happened with college sports in general has been NIL money, which has just been a development the past couple of years where basically student athletes still aren't getting paid for the sport, but they're able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness.
Yeah.
Which basically just means,
you can sell out and get some cash that way.
You can have your face on billboards, you can
endorse shit, whatever.
And so because of that, there's a ton of student athletes making a fuck ton of money.
Yeah.
And it's kind of perfectly coincided with this quote-unquote transfer portal era that we're in now. So basically, you have a whole different team every year because everyone's transferring somewhere else. And NIL has been a big contributing factor to that because...
Oh, shit, yeah.
Because you could be good at Louisville, for example, and then someone at Texas A&M, they got oil money and shit. They're like, hey... We'll give you $1 million to do what you did over here. And kids are loyal. I think that it's a misnomer that people are saying, oh, the kids just have no loyalty
they just
or
want
respect
that bag.
for the... If you were 18, 19 years old,
especially
and someone
if the school's
said...
been good to you.
Yeah. And someone said, here's $1 million to come to our school and do exactly the same thing that you did over there. I'm saying bet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. On Josh Pate, he was talking about how he had a conversation with a bunch of different key players in college football, whether it be advertisers, GM, stuff like that. The NIL shit is officially at a breaking point where something needs to change, otherwise it's just unsustainable what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And part of the reason that it's unsustainable is the way the schedule is, because transfer portal opens at the end of the semester, but because of that, people are transferring before bowl games, people are transferring before championship games, people are, getting the fuck out of there before the season's even really over.
Right.
So, that's fucking crazy that people like, Nick Saban have to come up with a game plan for the championship, but they also have to be actively recruiting his own players to stay with him.
Yeah.
And
when really, you should just be focusing on that fucking game.
And because of that, we've gotten some bad bowl games. For example, the Orange Bowl is like the bowl, the primetime bowl if you're not in the playoffs.
Right.
You know what the score was of that game? It was 63-3.
Oh my god.
It was an absolute drumming.
Yeah.
Because there were all these transfers, all these players were mad that they didn't get into the playoffs, so they were like, well, fuck this, man. I'm going to go somewhere else where my talents are appreciated.
Damn.
So that's why advertisers are getting involved too, because they're like, we're paying all this money for it to be, the Capital One Orange Bowl or whatever the fuck.
Right.
All of these bowls have corporate affiliate sponsors that are basically putting it on. And they're not getting fucking good product anymore. It's outside of like the top of the top tier. It's just a bunch of bullshit. So here's what he's saying is probably going to happen. To make it where the transfer portal and NIL actually work, we might finally be at the point where we're going to see actual employment. We're about to see college players actually getting paid by the university to play football. Because of that, you'd have to sign a contract, say, I'm here for this many years, and if I'm not here for this many years, you have to buy out of it. But because of that, that also comes with it a union. There is potentially the unionization of college sports players in general, but also college football players, because they're all of a sudden getting paid. And when they're starting to get paid, it's like, okay, do I get a fucking insurance? Do I get 401k? Like, what are we doing here? It's just crazy that we're finally... NIL's just been dipping our toe in the water.
I think it could be just like how scholarships function at universities, where it's saying, you maintain these grades, you're here for this long, and school's being paid for, and you get this, like, because there are scholarships like that where it's like you get this lump sum every semester to do what you want with it.
Yeah.
That way it's not just like an egregious payout, it's more so almost salaried. Like you're getting at this much for this amount of time if you meet the parameters. Yeah,
the terms would be laid out. And when they do that, because like you said, they kind of do that now, but not really, because it's just supposed to cover like food and housing. That's the most that they can put up. Legally, that's the most they can put up. So we're finally getting to the point where all these billions of dollars that these universities are making and giving none of it to the people we're actually getting paid to see. We're not there to see the fucking university. We're there to see the athletes and stuff that make the game fun. We're finally going to see some revenue sharing. We're finally going to see... Because wouldn't that be some shit to be like, okay, you're our star. We're going to give you like 1% of whatever the football team makes.
That'd be a great contract.
And that would be a fucking lot.
Yeah.
And that would also give you incentive to, play better, win games, as opposed to just saying, okay, here you go. Because the transfer portal has just gotten crazy. Louisville's benefited from it.
Yeah.
But the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. Because we have, at this moment, we have 20 new players transferring in, but we also have 20 players transferring out. So, because it's such a fucking carousel, everyone's just burnt out. Everyone just has...
It could be tough, though, because, depending on what the schools themselves are able to pay.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the major universities are going to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm. But, also depending on what contracts look like, Yeah.
I think who might get the most fucked are, the big colleges with shitty programs.
Yeah.
Like a team like Vanderbilt is a SEC team, and they're fucking terrible. And because they're in the SEC, it's probably going to be like a conference thing that it's going to be a type of employment with the conference as opposed
and
to
standardize
with the school.
It across.
So that's well and good for Alabama, who has $1 trillion off of football. But a school like Vanderbilt might be like, hey guys, no one really wants to watch us, and we have to pay an absorbent amount of money just to exist, just to do shit.
Yeah.
So it seems like all this is going to happen in the next year because they have a new playoff format next year where it's going to be 12 teams instead of 4 teams. The actual contract and stuff just doesn't even exist yet, so they have to figure all this shit out. It's kind of a sink or swim moment for the sport. So it's just crazy. It's crazy that we're about to see a ton of fucking change, and people don't even know it.
It's kind of one of those things that some people didn't think would ever really happen.
Yeah.
You know? So that is just kind of a crazy change for that whole industry.
Yeah, especially if you told me a few years ago when name, image, and likeness wasn't even a thing.
Exactly.
I just watched a documentary about Johnny Manziel, who was Johnny Football in 2012. He played for A&M, and he was just a superstar. In the documentary, he's partying with Drake and Jamie Foxx and shit like that. He was a huge cultural moment.
Yeah, for sure.
He couldn't get paid from the sport, but what he did behind the scenes, he was working with these people where he sat in a hotel room autographing shit for hours.
Sure.
And then they would send him a code to a safe, and he would get $30,000 for it, which is fucking pennies on the dollar compared to what they get now. I mean, some of these kids get high 6 figures now. But he got in trouble with the NCAA when he eventually got caught for doing that. It was you're not allowed to make money off of your autograph.
Which is stupid.
Which is fucking insane, because
you don't own me.
You're telling me...
I just go to school here, dude.
You're telling me what I can and can't do, but...
outside the fucking parameters of their fucking sports contract, too, really.
Yeah, you don't own what I do.
Maybe I'm not going to sit at the fucking game afterwards and, sign shit and make money that way, but I'm not even fucking there right now.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
That's like if you had your boss, say that you weren't representing yourself well outside of work and tried to discipline you like you did something at work.
Yeah.
Which is fucking stupid because you're not even there. You don't even, there's no obligation
I'm
outside. Yeah.
I'm off the clock. And just the way that they owned you like that.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
It's crazy when you think about it. And in the documentary, they were very open about, how everyone was trying to pay them for different shit, specifically autographs, because they were like, this isn't even illegal. This is a fucking legal thing to do. It's just something that the NCAA doesn't want us to do for whatever reason.
There's no... Yeah, the fact that they really have no ground to stand on for that.
Can you imagine being give you a recent example, Lamar Jackson, one of the biggest quarterbacks in recent years in college. That was before that. He didn't get paid except for maybe under the table.
Oh, dude, he could have been making...
So he's probably looking back at that and being like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Seeing, B-list quarterbacks getting 6 figures. Mm-hmm. He's probably like, oh my God. Well, he's probably not like that.
Now he's probably
making a fuck ton of money in the NFL. But imagine if you're someone like Johnny Manziel who doesn't have a career in the NFL, and you're just like, well, I just forfeited any chance to make money in my prime years to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. And now we're finally going to see them being fucking employees, so I just thought that was crazy.
No, that'll be interesting, because it'll definitely affect, the whole industry, and it won't only affect, football, it's fuck if one sport's getting paid, other sports might not make as much, but there's some schools where the basketball program's significantly bigger than the football program, and they're gonna expect something as well if they're making more money for the school.
That's gonna be where it gets interesting, because there's the whole thing about equity versus equality in sports. So there's the whole thing about, women's basketball needs to have the same resources as men's basketball, when in most cases the men's basketball team makes significantly more than the women's team.
Yeah.
It's not true at fucking University of Louisville because no one's going to the men's basketball games right now. But it's just going to be interesting
and
to see.
And we have a decent women's team like we have for a few years.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see, are they going to have to pay the female basketball players like they do the men's basketball players? Is it going to be some shit that's politicized just for people to get more money? Is it going to be, You
were saying that it's a microcosm, and it is interesting that, sports news is like regular news where it is on 24/7.
Yeah.
There's somebody always reporting on what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
Every single day. And so, what does the news like to do? Dramatize. What is sports news gonna do? Dramatize. They're gonna make money off of it if they, freak out about it.
Yeah. Because everyone has to have a stance.
Exactly.
That's where it's at right now. It's people giving their opinions on shit. It's not as much about, this happened and more details to follow. It's people saying, well, this happened and that's awful and, whatever.
Reactionary. Yeah.
And a good example of kind of what I was talking about with that specifically was a few years ago when it was the women's national championship in basketball, and one of the, I don't even remember who it was, but someone went viral for showing the weight room that the women had versus what the men had.
Yeah.
And it was just fucking bullshit, the shitty resources they had. And everybody had a fucking take. There were people that were like, yeah, it makes sense from the university perspective because they have less resources to devote to a less revenue gaining area. And there's also the opposite in the spectrum where they're like, this is sexist. How do you expect women's sports to excel if they aren't given proper resources?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Everyone has a fucking take about shit.
I think just business perspective wise, it's totally one of those, realistically you might not devote resources to it.
Yeah. But at the same time, from our perspective, from two dudes sitting on the fucking couch right now, we can be like, well,
in my mind, it's do they need different equipment? Why can't they just share equipment?
That's another weird thing, because, women be having different locker rooms than men. It's why? For what?
Meh.
I guess it makes sense situationally, when there have been times where the women play earlier in the day and then the men play later in the day, so there might be some overlap sort of time.
But, the weight
also,
room or whatever, it's
You're telling me they can't fucking share a locker room?
Yeah.
Not at the same time.
But, if there's not a game, yeah. For me, it's the weight room. It's literally do they need different workout equipment than the men? I don't think so.
No, they really don't.
If that was the case, every Planet Fitness that you go into would be twice as large because they would have a women's and men's.
Here's the women's weights and here's the men's weights. The women's weights are kitty weights.
Yeah, the soft one.
They're painted pink and have little flowers on them.
That does just sound insane that they're that they're women's weight room, men's weight
room. That's segregation. That's actually use these restrooms over there, women. I was goddamn.
Just thinking about it, it's you actually wasted money. Even if it's still shitty equipment for the women, you still wasted money.
Yeah. Yeah. For having.
As a guy on a couch, that's my take. Just let them share equipment.
Also, as a guy from the couch, this is kind of what I was saying a second ago, before you made that very valid point about how weird that is. Just from our perspective, we don't care as much about the dollars and cents, and we see the billions of dollars that, again, this isn't really applicable to Louisville because the women's program is more successful than the men's program right now, even from a sales perspective. But if it's like, I don't know, University of Indiana, IU, you make billions of dollars as a fucking sports program. You can afford to pay the women the same you do as the men, even if it's not drawing in the same type of shit. Because you kind of want it to be equal opportunity, because until that happens, it's not going to be as good of women's sports.
I mean,
they're never going to.
I guess the other option is just like keep it a percentage. So like whatever contracted percentage from the income that the women's sport brings in goes to them, and it could be the same percentage for the men's, but it would equate to different amounts
from
based off of what they're actually bringing in.
Yeah, for sure. That would make sense.
It'll be crazy to see like what it ends up being, because it's also one of those situations where it's, you know, literally never been done before, and so when like the first few universities make up contracts with people, that'll probably be what becomes the standardized contract for this kind of thing. And it's just going to start with football, but it'll definitely spread to other sports.
I think it's interesting that other avenues have become a thing, like specifically with basketball. You can't go straight to the NBA from high school, even though a lot of the greats did that, like Kobe and LeBron. But now you can play, you can be 18 or even 17, fresh out of high school, and be like, okay, I'm going to play in the Australia Basketball Association.
Yeah.
And you can be like, even if you want to stay in America, you can be like, I'm going to play in the G League for a year. Because that's still like an NBA thing.
Yeah.
But it's just at a lower level, and they don't have the restriction of saying, hey, you gotta
do college
wait
first,
a year.
Yeah.
You gotta, for what? It's interesting that college sports are even still a thing with those other avenues where you do get paid.
Yeah.
To do it.
Off the bat.
I think part of it is just like the fans that are built in. There aren't built-in fans for like a G League team, but there are for like, you know, hey, we're amateur basketball players for University of Memphis, and it's like, I go to Memphis, let's get fucked up and go watch the basketball team, and then I can stumble home from there.
Yeah.
Like, that's the appeal of that. It's just a bunch of
local.
It's either college kids or it's older people that once went to college there and they're kind of reliving their youth. College sports is so interesting to me. Especially from, like, our perspective, the Louisville perspective, where we don't even really have any pro teams near us.
At all.
It's so we just have to buy into whatever. You're either a Louisville fan or a Kentucky fan.
All of Kentucky is really like that.
Are you ready?
For music time?
Musical intermission.
Sounds great. I got the song ready too.
Oh, he's ready.
Much colder than before. We should stop and see what you've been doing to me. I can't take much more. I'm on fire.
That was Bad News by Aaron Frazier.
Never heard of him.
I had heard his voice on a song, but just didn't like notice it. It was just listed with other people, so I was like, maybe he's a producer or something like that. I love his voice. Honestly, it's very unique. He's on fucking tour right now, and he's got 2 million monthly listeners.
Damn.
But I mean, look at this dude. He's just like,
Is that small nowadays to have less than
I mean,
3 million?
he's at almost 3 million, so I'd say he's decently big.
Because it's just like, I haven't even fucking heard of bro.
Yeah, facts.
But I really like that.
So he's from Los Angeles. He was raised in Baltimore, and yeah, he was on co-lead vocalist and drummer. Interesting, for album with Duran Jones and the Indications. In 2021, he released his solo debut album,
So
produced by Dan Auerbach of the Black Keys.
Oh. I can hear that.
That's really cool, honestly. Really unique. Let's see when he's started producing, though. So he just had a single come out. This was from 2021. This was his last album. He might have one coming out this year. That'd be sick.
Was that what the song's from? The debut?
Yeah. And he's got a single back from 2017.
So, relatively old. Not that old for us, because we
Yeah.
remember 2017 like it was yesterday.
But I mean, this song came out in 2021. It's, I like that it's got, like, he's got that, classic kind of vocal range. Like, there's definitely a point in time for soul music
Absolutely.
where hitting that, like, higher pitch is really impressive and in tone with that style.
Yeah.
But I also like that it's got sort of, like, a modern vibe, and for the bridge, like, they do that sort of, like, grainy auto-tune on his voice just subtly.
I didn't even notice that.
So what's the line on the bridge? So it's when he's saying, "I know I'm getting older, but the winter seems much colder than before. We should stop and see what you've been doing to me. I can't take much more." And it just he's more so speaking that instead of singing it, and there is just like this slight, like, old recording graininess added to it, which is kind of cool. I like the little flute sounds in there too.
Yeah, the instrumental for sure is great, and I think that's the main part.
I was listening through the album
new.
too. That whole album's really good. Like, very similar in style to this. I think this might be the most, like, lively song on here. Like, this might be the only song on there that I would be, like, dancing to.
Yeah.
The rest is more of a vibe, I'd say.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cool.
I don't know. I've been...
Definitely funky.
Yeah, and I'm glad to not be playing hip-hop on here for a week.
For sure. Yeah, I liked all the instruments and shit that you heard in there. Because it was keys and flute.
Yeah.
And it was all sorts of shit.
Whole ass train.
To me, yeah, the vocals do sound like they have that old school kind of feel to it. Which I enjoy, because I think just good classical songwriting is just underrated nowadays. I think people are just used to hearing that shit old music, and they're just like...
Well, we're not getting too lyrically complicated or anything like
No,
that. It's just, the part that keeps every second of the song feeling unique is the instrumental, and the vocals are just, there to tell a little story, give a little vibe to it.
I do think that the Black Keys...
I could hear that for sure, yeah.
Yeah, for
now
sure.
Now that I know that.
But they're kind of an old school band. But to
They're
me,
a little more classical in
me,
style,
I
yeah,
listen
like...
to them, and it sounds like some contemporary shit
Yeah.
just because of how good it is.
No, that's really it, is that they do kind of just do what works, I mean, they got, banger after banger a lot of the time. They're huge. I mean, fucking 10.5 million monthly listeners starting back in, 2004 with a single, 2002 first album. Yeah. I mean, they started getting big, I'd say, 2010.
Really, it's that recent? I thought they might have been older than that.
I'm just thinking of their
2000s is pretty old.
Well, and they fit in with like a whole style there.
Yeah.
I think of them as like Cage the Elephant, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's rock and it's got that classic rock sound, but it's really alt rock.
Yeah, it's not fucking Metallica.
Yeah, and not overly modern either. It's the stuff that just ages well.
For sure.
Anything else to talk about? We got
I don't know.
the Epstein Island list.
What do you think about all that?
I was pissed that
You
came out the day after we dropped the last episode. I was like, fucking kill me, because this is all the internet's going to be a buzz about for the next few days.
I really didn't see a whole lot of interesting stuff from it. It really was like, oh, Trump was on it and Biden wasn't.
Yeah,
but Bill Clinton.
I think
was
that's
on
really
it.
funny, but yeah, no, Bill Clinton's on there.
And it's like, okay, I feel like we definitely knew that Trump was on that bitch because there's all the pictures and stuff with him.
No,
and
the biggest thing for me,
that Clinton was a creep.
The biggest thing for me has to be fucking the whole Stephen Hawking likes to have. Oh my
god!
Nude midgets trying to do complex equations on a chalkboard that was too big for them. Like, too high up for them. That is just the most fucked, could not make that shit up shit. And the fact that that's how we're starting this year, insane. Insane.
Yeah, come on, Steven.
I mean, just how sick do you have to be like, you know what I'm gonna get off to? Fucking...
That's gotta be a meme.
I don't think so.
That's gotta be a meme. I don't think that really happened. I trust in you, Steven.
You have trust.
So, I do have some interesting, I feel like, to say about that. But also, I think the whole finger-pointing thing is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because, like, both sides are kind of being homers and just pointing out, oh yeah, Trump's on the list, he's totally a rapist. Bill Clinton was just friends, though. He wasn't really... Why don't we as a society come together and be like, all these people are assholes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why is it...
My big thing on this really is just like, maybe we shouldn't idolize, like, human beings,
Yeah.
Just, like, accept that, the shit's fucked, and if somebody that you're a fan of is on that list...
Jay-Z was on there.
Yeah. Do what you will with that. But it doesn't mean that, like, we don't believe in cancel culture here, really. It's just one of those things that, like, they're famous, they'll still be famous.
Yeah.
It's not like anything is going to happen if there's no legal repercussions.
So, here's...
The court of public opinion can just, some booming goes only so far.
Yeah.
And people forget.
Yeah. People have the memories of fucking, mice. But here's kind of what I want to pivot the conversation into. So, I watched a documentary on the whole Epstein thing.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I didn't know a whole ton about it, and this was a couple weeks ago when the list was supposed to come out. And they were just kind of talking about how the appeal of Epstein, he wasn't even really trying to be a sex trafficker, but really what it was getting pictures of, like, these powerful people with these little girls.
Yeah.
It gives him leverage over them, power over them, and that's why when he got arrested the first time, there was a call from fucking Washington saying, give him a plea deal.
I mean,
he only got like a year's worth of
we got
prison.
fucking Leonardo DiCaprio on that list.
Yeah,
that's
that's another one where it's like, is it that shocking because he likes young women?
He does like young women,
but it's also like, here's what the conversation should be: is everyone on that list a pedophile? Probably not.
Yeah, really.
But
It's just a record of who went there. It's not necessarily who partook in his sex ring.
But does everyone there maybe know about it?
Yes. Fucking absolutely.
Is that just as bad as actually doing
That's
it?
definitely some bystander shit. Abso-fucking-lutely. And if we're getting to that, then it's like, pretty sure Obama was on the list.
I don't know if he was, because I feel like I would have seen it if he was. But I think, just to play devil's advocate, not saying that I necessarily agree with this, but arguably, I think that, here, let me choose my words very carefully when I'm talking about child sex trafficking. Arguably, if Epstein's so powerful and he has all these friends in all these high places, do you really want to cross that guy? Do you really want to put your career and really even your life at risk to expose this? Or do you just kind of want to, step aside from it and hope that someone eventually, somewhere, the truth eventually comes out, which it did. That's shooting crazy bail, I know.
Yeah.
That's shooting crazy bail when I say that out loud.
I mean, I'm not... Like I said, it's definitely some bystander shit. Because you could definitely have your reasons to not say anything if you know. And I'm sure it's kept under decently tight wraps for something that went on for so long. Yeah. And with so many, prolific people on there. Like, surely it was hush-hush. And maybe you heard a rumor, but you didn't see anything. In which case, there's more of this discussion with yourself of... Well, I just heard something, and, I would hate to ruin somebody's fucking life with an accusation about something like that I didn't even see. I just heard something.
That's valid, too. And another thing, I think that when you are in that elite, I think that probably goes on more than we even understand.
Think, yeah.
Like with the whole Weinstein thing, when he went down, everyone was kind of saying that
this has been going on forever.
An industry thing that people just kind of knew about. If there's 100 motherfuckers that that you hear about acting on shit, it's not your responsibility as like some washed up A-list actor to be like Epstein and Weinstein and all the Steens.
Yeah, literally.
They were being fucking creeps, and you should get them. Another thing that would do, maybe, is if you come out and say that just outright, then the court of public opinion is coming for you. They're like, why were you on his island then? What were you there for? How do you even know about this if you weren't fucking children?
But that mindset also leads to maybe they're all fucking guilty. Maybe the reason nobody said anything was because everybody's got something on everybody else.
Pizzagate turned out to be real.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like QAnon's been saying for years.
I do think it's crazy
that fucking drinking blood and shit out there.
I do think it's crazy that's been a conspiracy theory for so long. That all the, quote-unquote elites just drink the blood of children and crazy shit and fuck whoever they want and participate in sex trafficking and stuff. Because a lot of that probably does go on behind the scenes. Think about how much goes on that we don't know about.
Literally.
But I do think, as big of an operation as Epstein had, it was inevitable that it all came out to the surface at some point.
Bigger they are, harder they fall type shit.
Because if you have 1,000 victims, you expect every single one of them to just work for you and for the brainwashing to work and for the threats to work 100% of the time.
Yeah,
even if it's 99.9999% of the time, there's still going to be one person that leaks to the public, says, hey, that's the main thing.
Some shit went down,
Because it's just the arrogance to think that I'm not going to get caught for this because I have friends in high places and shit, this is proof that they could only protect you for so long. They fucking killed him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Probably.
Potentially.
Probably.
And in the documentary...
I know a suicide when I see one.
In the documentary, the lawyer who was prosecuting him was like, Yep, he just knew the jig was up, and so he just decided to kill himself. It's like, come
Sure,
on,
buddy.
come on.
Sure.
The reason that doesn't make sense is because he fucking got away with it before.
Yeah, literally.
He's literally gotten away with it already. So just for it to be like, he thought that there was no hope. Why wasn't there any hope? He has fucking friends in Washington.
Yeah,
he has
literally.
friends everywhere. He has friends in different countries that if he was able to flee the country, he would be safe forever.
He would have been straight, yeah.
He would have been safe forever. Crazy, man. What do you make of all that, then?
That man was definitely murked. Ain't no suicide. I definitely think that he could have gotten away with it. That's why I don't think that is the case. I definitely think that it's just like why it didn't come out for so long is that everybody has shit on everybody else in that sort of class.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's how you maintain leverage
That's fucking
on your own
crazy.
shit is by having shit on other people.
And that is kind of why, going back to what you said at the very beginning, maybe that's why you
Blackmail's
don't just...
easier than paying people off, you know?
Maybe that's why you don't idolize people that you don't even fucking know.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then it's like, oh, my favorite actor, Leonardo DiCaprio, is on the Lolita Express, and no. Then you're making defenses for someone that you do not know.
Literally.
And could be a fucking child molester. So you're making fucking excuses for a potential child molester. Because that's what that does when you're really good at acting like somebody else on a TV screen.
Yeah.
Or you're really good at catching a ball. Or you're really good at throwing a ball.
Yeah.
Stan culture. Stan culture is the problem with America.
I would agree.
We have to exterminate the stands. And
No
then
celebrities.
We'll be back.
That's really how I
Yeah.
feel about it. It's just like
Just drop a nuke on
Hollywood. Yeah. Honestly, though, if I was a foreign power, that might be one of the first places I check off on the list. I'm like,
Shit.
yes.
That's the media, center for the whole United States. Take that out, and what do we have to fucking...
Everybody would actually lose their minds. Because nobody would care if you fucking blew up a military base or some politicians. But the general public would freak.
Yeah, they blow up the White House, and we're all just like, eh.
But blow up the goddamn Hollywood sign. Oh my god.
Like in fucking Mars Attacks.
I mean...
Do it.
For me, it's like how people, like, worship the Queen and shit like that, you know? Where it's just like, none of them are famous for any real important reason.
Yeah.
You just like them.
Yeah. For no reason.
For no real reason either. You saw them in a thing, you're like, they were funny.
And a lot of times it's not even that they were funny. They were given
Funny lines.
things to say in a funny way. And we're like, haha, yes. Funny Chris Pratt.
Speaking of people that, shouldn't be stans.
Well, who?
Chris Pratt.
Should it be stands of Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
Why not?
He's definitely one of those, like, famous people that just is like, yeah, I'm famous and I can tell you my opinions and act like they matter.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, shut up. I want to see you in a movie, not, like, hear your take.
Yeah, fuck your take.
Bad takes, Chris Pratt. For shame. Who would you freak out if you saw that they were on the island list?
I did see a fake Epstein list.
I did too. I think that's where I saw Obama.
And it had fucking Donovan Mitchell on it. And I was like, no!
The fake one I saw also had Oprah on it, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah. Oprah got cleared, which is good, which makes me happy. Because that gives me some faith in humanity.
That would just destroy America's moral compass.
Yeah.
If Oprah was on that
we
fucking
don't have
list.
Oprah, Preston.
What
Who
do we
have?
Oh my god. That's too real, honestly. Oh my god.
Shit. Who else?
I mean, for me, Stephen Hawking was a shocker.
I don't even really believe that.
I do.
I know he's on the list, but I don't... that could be a thing where, like,
They're
could've
trying
just,
to detract.
taken
I've seen a lot of
picture
stuff that's
with
saying, like, this whole thing is to distract from the fact that it's fucking election year.
Why would that distract from that?
Like, people don't want people... we'll say they. Classic they. They don't want
to
us...
see me win.
You know, they don't want to see us thinking about politics. They want us in outrage over something irrelevant so that we're not thinking about politics.
That's always been kind of the method for control of pitting people against each other. But if that's what they were trying to do, that seems like a counterproductive way to do it, because that makes you think about the election that Donald Trump's on there and he's going to be...
I mean, that man's getting removed from polls, so there are a few states he won't even be able to have a chance at getting.
Not necessarily. If everyone just fucking writes him in...
That would be insane.
I mean, it's possible. The Republicans in those states aren't just going to be like, well, I guess
Do
I'll
you think
just
they're
vote
literate
for...
enough? They said, I gotta do more than filling in a bubble. I ain't sure it's worth it.
Yeah, I like Trump, but not that much.
Not enough to write his full name. They probably don't even know. They'll just be like, Trump. And I'll be like, okay, but... Like, give me his legal name.
You talking about Melania Trump?
Barron.
You talking about Barron?
Barron Trump for president.
Are you talking about the stupid one? The kid?
Oh my god.
You gotta write in Donald J. Trump, otherwise
Exactly.
it's invalid.
Exactly. No, that would actually happen, though. Like, so many motherfuckers would just go in there, write Trump, and it's like, no, we need that full government.
Can we write in Harambe again? Because what would happen if we elect Harambe?
I was about to say,
Is that just a vote of no confidence in the government?
Yes.
That we vote for someone who
The
is
fact that
dead?
I'm looking at a gorilla picture right now.
Hi, Harambe.
No, for me, I was about to say, what's the most outrageous thing? Just start voting for dead people. Just like, I want so-and-so's ghost as president.
I'm voting for George Washington.
George Washington's ghost.
I think after he left, after he said farewell, shit hasn't been the same since.
Shit, never been the same. Honestly, though, definitely just one of the founding fathers just to be like, yeah, y'all totally don't understand the Constitution. Get the real takes.
That would be crazy because
Nobody knows. It's
if
just all
Thomas Jefferson
interpretation.
was saying that, he'd be able to be like, I wrote the shit, god damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I meant.
Wrote the book on it, literally.
And Thomas Jefferson was a little bit of a pansy, which I think is funny. That he was just literally a Francophile. He was basically a weeb before it was a thing, before it was popular. But
Yeah.
with French people.
With French people.
With France.
A French
With
weeb.
France culture.
A
Yes.
French weeb.
Yes.
I feel like that there are still probably people like that to this day.
What, Francophiles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
French stands.
I'm sure there are. That one person that can't stop talking about the one time that they went to Paris. Oh, it was so beautiful.
Obsessed with France.
Grow up.
Yeah, it's also like Paris isn't supposed to be the best place to visit. It's just where the tourists go, but it's like...
Yeah, I'd love to go to like the French countryside.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool.
I was watching Anthony Bourdain, and he was in Lyon, France, and it seems like a more chill kind of place.
That's where my grandpa lives. No lie. I have no relatives that I know of that live there. Not saying that they're not there.
You need to do that 23andMe and just see where your long-lost relatives in France are and just go pull up.
I do have a cousin that lives in Norway.
That's cool.
Straight up Norwegian. Cousin
Just
Kari.
go to Norway.
I could.
That'd be sick.
She's an interesting lady.
What?
She's very strange.
A mysterious...
She's quite odd. She sends us Christmas cards.
Oh my god.
But that's the only reason why we know that she's fucking odd.
She tracked y'all down.
I wonder if she listens. If I check the geotag on
And there's
the
one in
RSS
Norway.
feed, and there's just one listed for Norway, I'd be like, oh, I know who that is.
That would be wild.
I'm trying to go to jail in Norway.
I have heard.
It sounds wonderful.
Does sound wonderful. They believe in rehabilitation, not punishment. It's crazy.
What if that's just what I do instead of getting a job in working for the rest of my life.
Just go get arrested in Norway.
If I just go to Norway and I shoot someone,
I mean, hell,
and I
worst
just
that
pick
can
my
happen.
feet up and have Wi-Fi,
You
and
get-
listen to podcasts.
You
all
get
day.
life, and
I
you're just chilling on an island for the rest of your life.
I listen to Preston's version of the podcast while
solo.
I'm locked away.
I couldn't do it solo.
You would find a successor. You would do it with fucking. I'm trying to
Pierce.
think of a outlandish name.
Pierce would actually be
I would.
my go-to.
I would. It would be Preston and Nathan on the show together. No, it would be Preston and Josiah.
Oh my God, Josiah.
The new highly suspicious. That'd be hilarious. I would definitely listen to that while I was in prison and had nothing else to do.
Just vibing.
I would do it. They could rehabilitate me. My mind is open to being changed from being a violent sociopath. Do you think that's a misguided approach?
What?
The rehabilitation angle? Because I think the American justice system is flawed too.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't know how much you could really rehabilitate.
Depends on the crime, I'd say.
I feel like if you treat them for like mental health, I think that would be one thing.
Well, that's part of what they do.
Yeah.
They establish, healthy routines and give people responsibility. And part of what they, why they do that is just having a routine
something
helps,
to
your mindset. And, having something to do, gives you something to focus on, takes your mind off of, your murderous rage, for example, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing laundry, so I can't think about killing people right now.
Yeah. And they're removing them from society, and sometimes for people, it is that just not fitting into society is part of the problem.
Yeah. Being just an outcast. So that's my plan after college.
Norway, baby.
Here's a Family Feud meme where the question is, any big plans after college?
Thought about killing myself.
Oh my God.
It was on the board.
I love that show,
Thought about
honestly.
killing myself. I love Steve Harvey. He's so funny.
Icon. If he was on the list, I'd lose it.
I would say no.
Cap. The whole list, trash. There's no way. All right.
Yeah, that's a whole different list. Thank you all for listening to this season with us.
We'll be back in
A few weeks.
a few weeks.
When the Death Star is fully operational.
Mostly operational.
Right, that's what I said.
Usable.
I hope no rebels are around.
Find our weak spot.
Yeah, because it's there.
It is totally there.
The big hole in the ceiling, maybe.
Possibly. They'll just drop in on us on the first episode. Fuck. Be back in a while.
Bye.